two times I've seen y'all together.
I've been trying to hide from you, but you just keep finding me.
We'll start rumors.
All right, we're ready to get started. I'd like the records to reflect that all the members of the court are present for our 10 a.m. Tuesday, November 26th, next to the last one for the year so far. And I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome. Opening prayer will be by Reverend Oscar Dixon, Overcomers Through Faith Ministries Church. And if you would, please all rise for the prayer. Reverend.
Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together, share, to show love, and then to make some good decisions on today. We're asking now in the name of Jesus that while we're fastly approaching the holiday season, that you will bless each and every one under the sound of my voice, bless their families, and keep them safe. Bless those, Master, that is not as fortunate as we are to have food to eat, shelter over our head, clothes to wear. But we ask, God, that you will continue to keep us and lead us by your Spirit. Order our steps. Help us to be a better people as we serve you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. And if you would, remain standing for and follow Commissioner Cheshire as we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And remain standing as we pledge to the Texas flag. Commissioner?
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Y'all can be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, at this time, we'd like to go ahead and open the public forum. If there's anybody that would like to address any of the items that's on the agenda specifically, and everybody has the agenda items at the back, is there anyone that would like to discuss anything that's on the agenda? Okay, at this time, we'll close the public forum and move on to item number 5. Discussion action on minutes for November 12th, 2019 Commissioners Court. Gentlemen?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 6, discussion action on minutes for November 14th, 2019 canvass of votes for the November 5th, 2019 Commissioners Court meeting. Gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, appearance of Daniel Cummings, Goodwin, Laster, Strong, to discuss and request approval of the preliminary plat of Rustic Pines, Section 11 subdivision in Precinct 1. Morning, sir.
Good morning. That is, actually should be Section 2.
Section 2.
But that's what we're here to discuss this morning. We're trying to get this approved for the preliminary plat approved so we can begin construction on the streets and in the subdivision. I put a copy of the plat there in front of you, so you have something to look at. 15 lots, be one street that's created. It's an extension to the already existing Rustic Pines subdivision. It's on the back side of it. The street's going to be pushed on further through. Cul-de-sac at the end. 15 lots. The water drainage study that was submitted for the original Rustic Pine subdivision took into account the complete development of the subdivision. So that has not changed since the submittal of Rustic Pine Section 1. And the lift station was created large enough to support the entire subdivision when it was built. So, and it's been accepted by the city of Hudson as well.
Commissioner?
So does this plat falls under the city of Hudson's? On the
No,
right
sir,
side?
it's actually outside of Hudson, outside of Lufkin. It's in the county, but Hudson, the city of Hudson actually is picking up the sewer treatment, the sewer collection for the property.
Is it their plant?
No, sir, it'll be the county's plat.
No, their plant.
Oh, their
Sewer-
plant.
Sewer plant.
It belongs, I believe it belongs to the client, does it belong to Billy? It's-
The lift station has been accepted by the city of city of Hudson. After 12 months of operation, the warranty will be turned over to them for
Wow.
operation. And it will go from there to the city of Hudson's wastewater treatment plant for final
So they'll
treatment.
be maintaining the maintenance and everything on it?
Yes, sir. After this 12 months expires, maintenance responsibilities will shift from the developer to the city of Hudson.
Wow. That's always a big thing down the road.
Yes,
You
sir.
bet. Commissioner?
I've been out there before, and it is very professionally done. I like that subdivision. I have no problems with it at all. So I move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
All right, item number 8, discussion action on proposed participating entity services agreement with APRIS Incorporated for the statewide automated victim notification service, SAVNS. Counselor, do we need to discuss this any? This is something that we do yearly?
Morning, Judge. Yes,
Morning.
Judge, it is something that the county's been doing yearly for some time. As you may recall, at our last meeting, the court approved a
Right.
grant contract with the Attorney General's office to fund this service. This is actually the underlying contract with the provider that provides the victim notification services. It's the company called, is APRIS, and it's the company that's being utilized statewide that was approved by the Office of the Attorney General. So the contract that's before you is actually a uniform contract that we're required to approve as is under the terms of our grant that we entered into at our last meeting. So that's essentially what this is. It is something that's done on a year, we've been doing for a number of years. It provides victim notification services so that folks who are victims of crimes can receive notices about pending court cases, also about custody issues of somebody that's charged with a crime that's in custody or in jail somewhere, release dates and that type of thing. So anyway, it's a good service. I believe it's primarily administered through the sheriff's office or the jail.
The
but,
jail.
As far as the day-to-day operations of it. But anyway, I'd be glad to answer any questions. I reviewed the contract. I don't see anything that's a significant legal concern. It's a one-year contract. And as I said, it is a uniform contract that we're required to approve as is based on the terms of the grant. So
So judge need to sign it?
you would need to sign
Yes.
it, yes, sir.
Move to approve with the signature of the judge.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Gary. All right, item number 9, discussion action on proposed order authorizing disbursement of salaries and routine office expenses. This is a order that actually come out of the legislature last year, and we've been working on this thing to make sure that we get it right. It's something that we had been doing all along, but the legislature said that we need to go ahead and authorize this order, making sure that salary and routine office expenses are accepted properly. And Counselor Kirby has been working on this, and there's no issue in it. We have the order in our file to sign, and I'll need to sign it.
Do we need to add a limit to the office supplies or?
It's, the limits and everything are already in there. Yeah, it's in your packet as far as what the limits and everything are. But it's fairly routine. It doesn't change anything the way we've been doing things all along. It's just All we're doing is the legislature said that we need to go ahead and get it on the agenda for approval, this order.
I don't have the order in my
I
packet.
didn't get it either.
Y'all were supposed to have each one a copy of this order. She, Sally was supposed to put one in each one of your packets. Sorry about that.
They were on paper clipped with the originals.
Oh, okay, oh, okay. Well, that'll work. All right. Pass it on down. Greg and Kermit, okay. Autographed copies. Yes. All right, give y'all an opportunity to look it over.
Oh, yeah. That's Kermit.
You can keep it in your
Okay.
file, yeah.
So they didn't really set any limits, which,
No.
it's just,
It's basically business as
What's-
usual.
what's
doing
turned in
what we've
before,
already been doing.
so we don't have to have a court just to approve it.
Routine,
Routine.
right. Some, over, like for instance, in Nacogdoches, where they call special courts all the time, that's eliminating that. Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve with judge's signature.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item number 10, discussion action on proposed agreement with LexisNexis to provide Judge Joe Lee Register, Angelina County Court at Law Number 1 with access to the current for the government program with the subscription of this electronic research program to be paid through Angelina County Law Library Fund. All right, Counselor, if you would you address this just to make sure everybody understands exactly what we're doing?
So, Judge, as you recall, back in the summer, the court approved a new electronic research program for the law library and for the judges as well, through LexisNexis. Prior to that, we'd been using the Westlaw company. We switched to LexisNexis. And Judge Register has requested a new program, or sort of an additional program from LexisNexis. It's called the Accurate Government Program, and it's essentially a people search program. It allows him this electronic service that assists him in locating people that are involved in court proceedings in his court. This would be a 3-year subscription for this service, and the proposal is $91 a month for that. It would come from the Law Library Fund, and I've conferred briefly with the auditor. I think that the funds are available for it at this time. We had a significant reduction in our rates on our electronic research programs when we switched companies earlier this year. That's going to gradually go up to approximately where we were to start with over about a 3-year period. But at this point, we are paying a lot less than we were before. So there's certainly funds available to cover it. And he's requesting this addition. There was some discussion when we originally switched services, and he was under the impression that this was going to be included with our original program, but it was not. And so that's the basis of going back and asking for this. It's a single user program that would just be available to him in his office. And again, it's a 3-year deal, and it's $91 a month, payable out of the Law Library Fund. So I'd be happy to answer any questions about it that I can.
The money's there though?
But
Motion to approve.
Second. Authorize the judge to sign,
Is that,
I think.
there, from what I understand, I'm supposed to sign in one place on it.
motion to approve with the judge's signature?
Yes, sir, that's correct. The basic agreement would need to be signed by the judge. There's some applications and some other paperwork that Judge Register has signed to request the program, but the essential agreement where we're agreeing to pay for it for the 3 years would need to be signed by the judge.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Carrie. Item number 11, discussion action on a proposed agreement with Commercial Metals Company to close and relocate a portion of Bill Jones Road, a county road located in precinct number 2, Angelina County, Texas. Commissioner?
CMC Metals is, buying the property that's located right next door to them. And TxDOT has taken away a bunch of their frontage, property. And so where the existing Bill Jones Road is, they're proposing to build a road, and we'll take over that road if it's approved by the court. So that's what we're working on right now. I've been talking to, Mr. Kerry Kirby and Mr. Olin Trapp from CMC. And so we're working on trying to get all this taken care of now. That's what we're doing now.
What type of surface do they plan on putting down? Do you know? What type of road surface do they plan on putting down? Do you know?
Asphalt.
Asphalt?
Yes.
Can we get a 12-month warranty on that before we accept it?
Can we do a warranty, Mr. Kerry?
Gonna be
It's gonna be subject to
the
our
city of
inspection.
Lufkin specs.
Yes.
Is it?
ETJ, so it's, city specs, so.
Okay.
So this road is located in Commissioner Kennedy's precinct, but it is in the ETJ of the city of Lufkin. So we worked out an agreement with CMC Metals that calls for them to construct this road and dedicate it, this replacement road, and dedicate it to Angelina County. And as the Commissioner indicated, the terms of that agreement specify that it has to be constructed in accordance with the requirements of the city of Lufkin for construction of a new road, which actually probably exceed what we have in place in our subdivision
I think all their
regulations.
new roads are, excuse me, concrete, aren't they?
It's gonna be asphalt.
Should be asphalt.
Yes, sir.
I thought.
And there's, the specifications are attached to the agreement that you should have in your packet, yes, sir.
I didn't have that, so.
So the way this would work, if approved, is simultaneously sometime next year when the new road is completed, they would come to court and simultaneously they would dedicate that road to the county, and then the county would enter an order closing the existing portion of the road that crosses CMC's property. It's essentially a relocation, wouldn't you say, Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner, if you don't have a problem with it, I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
No, I don't have a motion. I don't have any problem.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item number 12, discussion action on a request for the sheriff's office to apply for a domestic marijuana eradication grant for fiscal year 2020 and to approve for financial management of the DME flight operations. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Kind of feel like I need to be off. There's nobody in here. I think we missed the email. This is kind of the preliminary stage of this, but they're already, it's usually after the first of the year, but they're already sending me the paperwork for this, the grant that I think this, probably going to our 6th or 7th year on this. Nothing has really changed other than the flight operations went from 450,000 to 400,000 to I think 450. I guess the fuel and the pilots and stuff went up. Everything else is the same. I guess the big deal is, and I really hadn't got a chance to talk to Janice, I should have before I got here, but remember last year we changed it to reimbursement, and I didn't want to make sure that we didn't have any problems with everything went
I
smooth
don't
on
know
that.
that we've got our money yet, so, I mean, Joan was finishing.
I know
out.
Joan is the link there.
Yeah, Joan
It
was
stops with
working on
her, and then it's what I told somebody this morning, that's part of it, that they can only pay when they get the bill. But other than that, as far as I know, we didn't have any problem with it.
As far as I know, there's been no problem.
And this includes, like I said, pays for the fuel for, it's 100% reimbursement on fuel. It's just, the grant comes through us to pay for all that operations. And then on our part, we get 100% grant on that. Like last year, I bought a FLIR, It's not like night vision, it's a heat detecting type of thing, a FLIR that, they're pretty expensive, it's like $6,000, they paid 100% on it. So we do get some benefits out of it.
Are we still supplying observers to
Yes,
go
sir.
with them?
We have, that's part of the deal. We observe the week they're here. We provide observers for that week because we're familiar with it. And it's not only us, the U.S. Forest Service and some of the surrounding counties also. Then, as they move on to the next area, if they need any additional manpower, they'll contact us. We've only really gone like to Polk County and Smith County, some close counties. So far, we haven't had to spend a lot of time outside of our area. But that week, we're pretty busy the week they're here, you know, taking care of our stuff.
Okay.
Is this something the judge needs to sign as well?
Yes, they haven't sent me that. The sheriff signs one, but there's some more paperwork that they haven't, I just realized they haven't sent me that the judge will usually sign on it. I haven't gotten it
Okay.
yet.
Motion to approve, authorize the judge to sign.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 13, appearance of Jill Brewer, County Treasurer, to present and request approval of the monthly Treasurer's Report for the month ending October 2019. Good morning.
Good morning. Here I am again with good news and bad news as usual. Well, that's the way money goes, isn't it? Good news and bad news. So the front page is our cash flow statement, and it's only as good as our records. We are still working on trying to get our bank reconciliation done in a timely manner. Janice and I are working really hard with some departments to get that done, so maybe our cash flow statement will be an accurate picture. I just can only present to you what's in the system. So that's why I don't ever spend a lot of time on this, because it changes. When I ran this report a couple of weeks ago, if I ran it today, it would be totally different, because it's cash and it's fluid, and that's just how it goes. It's like water running in a stream. It changes all the time. But really, we really like this second page. That's why we come, right? So we can talk about the second page and our investments, because that tells us where we are. All right, gentlemen, I got some bad news. I like to tell you the bad news first. The bad news is that interest rates are going down. And as the year goes, of course, our principal declines, because we collect all our money at the beginning of the year. Not all of it, but we collect the lion's share of it at the beginning of the year. So as the year goes, it dwindles down. And I even hate to say this, we only got $39,800 in interest. And I know that's so sad. A lot of people don't even make that much money a month, but that's okay, because it's still good. We only budgeted $130, and we've collected $552,000 in interest. I wanted to break $600,000 this year, but I just don't think I can make that happen, as hard as I try. We did do some transfers. We used our money out of Tex Pool. We used some money out of Texas Class. And then we had to pull some money from our money market account, and we got that handled. That's to pay our bills for Commissioner's Court and payroll and things like that. I want you gentlemen to notice that I've added a couple of things to this report under the miscellaneous items. It occurred to me during our budget process that I hate to keep bringing up, but sometimes you're enlightened in the most chaotic times. I decided that the public really maybe needed to know how much we actually spent every month. Maybe that would give them a better idea of what it takes to run the county. Last month, in October, we spent over $2.5 million in just paying our bills, and that's not including payroll. Payroll was $1.3 million. So I broke that out so you gentlemen can see where the money's going, not just as it's coming in, not just as we're earning interest, not just our investments, but where it's actually going. I do apologize for not having our waste management trust up to date. It still says it's got the ending balance for June the 30th. I didn't get that updated in time. I had to rebuild my investment report, which is why I don't have it today also, because we added some entities, and I wanted to make sure everything was right before I put a number on here for you gentlemen to see. But it's not a bad thing. We collected $501,000 from the state for sales tax, and like I said, we've earned $552,000 in interest, and I think that's a good thing. I also wanted to let you know, I don't have all bad news. I mean, 552,000 is good, but I also had talked to the tax office, and our collections are starting to pick up a little bit. So the number that we have here in our ending balance, the $18 million number, $18,613,000, that is our low point. So if we take out for fund balance, which is, I like to do about $11 million, because I want to hold out for the general fund. Oops, I'm gonna need those. Thank you, sir. So I like to hold out about $11 million in my mind. I don't pull it out, I don't put it in any special place. It's just about $11 million for fund balance, so that includes the general fund and you four gentlemen. Because if something were to go wrong, you four gentlemen are the ones that are gonna have to fix it. So I like to pull it out and kind of keep that number in my mind. Now, going forward, knowing that we spent about $3.8 million in October, so keep that in mind too, is we've still got November, which November's not on here. And then we have December. So we have to keep in mind that we're gonna spend about $3 million this month and next month. And that'll give you an idea of what we have left as far as moving forward. And that's about all I have. I think I've said a lot.
I noticed adding Wichita Falls was a good move.
It was
Good
a
job.
great move.
Good
It
job.
was a great move. And I'm hoping that in the future, that we can find some other vehicles to invest in, like the CD broker. Now, there is going to come a time, unfortunately, our interest rates keep going down, and I know it's good for the community, but it's bad for us as, earning interest. But there are other vehicles out there we can use. So I'm hoping with the CD broker, in the future, when that interest rate becomes higher than our investment pools, we'll be able to move a little money over there and kind of diversify our portfolio a little bit.
That commercial bank money market account has already started moving. I noticed that. It's half of what the others are. So
Well, it's a set rate. They give us 0.9, and that's really, that we hold that for emergencies.
Right.
When we have a large payment that needs to come through and I'm not aware of it, we don't have quite enough money in our bank account, in our checking account to cover it, we'll move it. And that's also a vehicle when I'm out of town, if I'm on a conference or I'm on a vacation, my assistant
They'll
can
have
handle
access.
that. And she has permission to handle that within the banking system. So we have a fail-safe in case, and that gives Janice, I say this a lot, I cross the train tracks twice a day. So that gives Janice a little bit of cushion so she can get her act together if I so get hit by the train. I can think of a lot of worse ways to go. Where she seems to think it's not gonna be going very fast and she'll have to come see me in the hospital, but I'm gonna make sure it's moving quick if I'm gonna get hit by it.
Can you
So
use
that-
Frank Street from now on?
Can I do
It
what?
has a bridge under it.
You want me to take
I
Frank
want you to take
Street?
Frank
Yeah,
Street
that
from under, go under the underpass. Don't go across right there.
I'll wave at you from heaven if I get hit by the train. But anyway, on a more serious note, I think that we're in good financial shape as far as our investments go, and we're almost at the end of the year. And I'm really excited about that $18 million number. So I know we've got some things coming up on our horizon that we need to start planning for, so that'll be a good number for us to use.
yeah, Jill,
Gentlemen,
that's good.
you
That's
have any
good report.
questions?
Good job.
Thank you. You have any questions? I'm getting better at this, Judge. I really am. Getting a little more comfortable with my knowledge of
You're doing fine.
what's going on this sheet. But do you have any questions? All right.
Good job.
Thank you. If you like it, I'd like you to sign it. If you don't like it, I'd still like
Motion
you to
approved,
sign
authorized
it.
the court to sign.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you,
Motion
gentlemen.
passes. Thank you, Jill. All right. Item number 14, discussion action on approving services agreement with eHealth Screenings, the company who provides the blood screening service for Angelina County Employees Wellness Program. Janice?
We have our health fair scheduled for February the 4th, 5th, and 6th of 2020. And eHealth Screenings is the company that comes in and does the screenings, drawing of the blood, and does the screenings for us. So this is the contract with them to provide that service. And there was a change as far as pricing goes. They have dropped the price on the PSA test for the men over 55, they dropped it from $19 down to $17. And then there's a physician screening form that they use for any employee that cannot attend the health fair and have to go to their outside services to get their blood drawn. So then that price dropped from $15 to $14. The county attorney has reviewed the contract and everything is in sufficient order. So we just need to get this approved so we can go forward with our health screening.
Make your signature.
Who needs to sign this?
The judge needs to sign it.
Okay.
Motion to approve, that's just a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second authorizing my signature. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 15, discussion action on budget transfer for county extension service. Transfer from rental and lease equipment of $1,000 to office supplies for $1,000. And transfer from utility electricity for $150 to dues and publications for $150. Gentlemen?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, item number 16, discussion action on budget transfer for Road and Bridge number 4. Transfer from carryover of $10,000 to gasoline and oil of $10,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Can I say something before we
Sure.
vote, if you don't
Sure,
mind?
Commissioner.
I'd like to add that, I don't know if we recall, but several weeks ago, we transferred the same amount of money, but what happened was we had a couple of invoices arrive that we weren't aware about, that were dated in September, that arrived in November, on the 8th of November, and we weren't aware of it. So this transfer is going to cover those invoices. One other little thing I'd like to add is when we fill up, we're filling up 7,000 gallons, and if you want to do the math real quick, that's a lot of fuel at one time. So it's pretty expensive. So that's the explanation for the budget transfer.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, any further discussion? Thank you, Commissioner.
You bet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 17, consider any miscellaneous and routine items. Got several in front of you. JP number 1 has quite a bit of information in there. JP number 3. And Billy Page, tax assessor collector's report. All right, gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve all.
All right. We have a motion and a second to consider and approve the miscellaneous routine items. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 18, consider approval and authorization for payment of the bills as submitted by the county auditor. Gentlemen,
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to pay the bills. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 19, recess or adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank y'all for your attention.